Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to another Modern Horizons draft. Now, I've been drafting the, what do you call it? I've been drafting the freaking artifact deck, but I also think it's one of the best decks, at least right now, until people get the other decks figured out a little bit more. I kind of want to draft the Reanimator deck or the Madness deck, and if I'm doing that, like, Arcbound Shikari is the card I would pick here, because I think that card is really good. It's a 3-mana 2/2 first strike with more text on it. It's probably the best card in this pack, and if I'm drafting to win, then I would take that. Feast of Sanity is very powerful, and Vile Entomber is also pretty good. I think I'm going to take Vile Entomber. We're going to see if we can't go for the black-white Reanimator deck. Alright, in this pack there is Aethersworn Sphinx. Wow, we could have a really good artifact deck. Another Vile Entomber, a Hellmongrel, let's see, Scophos Reaver. What does Breathless Knight do? It's a 3-mana 2/2 flying lifelink. Whenever Breathless Knight or another creature enters the battlefield under your control, if that creature entered from a graveyard or you cast it from a graveyard, put a 1/1 counter on Breathless Knight. So that's a payoff for playing the graveyard strategy. I think I'm going to take the uncommon and try and wheel the common. We may have to move into a different strategy, depending on what's available. Because if somebody, like, first picked Karmic Guide, we're probably not going to be in this deck for very long. So, Scour the Desert is a pseudo-reanimate spell. It lets us exile a creature card from the graveyard and get that many bird tokens, where that X is that card's toughness. I'm passing on a Vermingorger to do this, and I think that's okay. So I'll take Scour the Desert. Alright, in this pack, the artifact deck must be really open. There's a Caprichrome, which is a big sack outlet. I'm going to take Guardian Kirin. It's just good in, like, an attrition-y type deck. Alright, another Scour the Desert. Let's see, Necromancer's Familiar is a 4-mana 3/1 flyer. With Hellbent, it has lifelink. And we can pseudo-regenerate by paying black and discarding a card. That seems good. Yeah, I'll take the Familiar. We're going to need to start drafting cheaper cards. So Discerning Taste helps fill the grave, can gain us life. Angelic Curator is a random 2-mana 1/1 that flies and has protection from artifacts. Constable of the Realm would be reasonable to reanimate, just not super great. I think I will take Constable of the Realm. Ravenous Swirl. Whenever you sacrifice an artifact or a creature, put a 1/1 counter on it. And it has 3 mana, sack an artifact or a creature, you gain life and draw a card. Abundant Harvest, there's a Discerning Taste. A Lens Flare, which we may not have a lot of artifacts. I think I take Discerning Taste. I don't have any artifacts, so Lens Flare would be difficult to get any sort of value out of. Late to Dinner is the premium reanimate spell that is not rare. Basically, this is what we would be playing to get back any of our stuff, so that's what we're going to take. Feast of Sanity. Well, we are going to be discarding some cards, because those cards are going to be reanimated. I don't think we're primarily going to be discarding cards. I don't think I'm going to take a Marble Gargoyle either, so I'm going to take World Weary. Breathless Knight came around, so I'll take Breathless Knight. Dihada's Ploy isn't bad, but Breathless Knight I think is a little bit better. Alright, we get a Blacksmith skill. Never a bad combat trick to have if you're in white. I don't think we're playing Vectus Gloves. Zuran Orb's kind of funny. Aeromoeba is a discard outlet, but I'm going to take Rustvale Bridge. I really doubt we're playing blue unless we get some very, very strong blue cards. Fodder Tosser is a way to get reach, answer Planeswalkers, and discard creatures we may want to reanimate. For some reason I thought this card was a 2-drop, not a 3-drop. So I probably won't be playing it, but I guess it's still possible. I'll take a random lose focus for the sideboard, and another lose focus for the sideboard. Let's move on to pack 2. So we want high toughness creature cards for Scour the Desert, large creatures for Late to Dinner. Alright, what are we dealing with here? We've got Obsidian Charmaw, which is a 5-mana 4/4 with it costs 1 less for each land your opponent controls that could produce colorless. When it enters the battlefield, destroy a non-basic land an opponent controls. Alright, well that's not a good Reanimator target. It does almost nothing. So our picks are really Barbed Spike or Flay Essence. Potentially Tyzerus Charger, though that should wheel. I think we're going to take Flay Essence because it's a fantastic removal spell. Usuri, Fortune's Flame. There's a Piercing Rays, a Tragic Fall, and a Scour the Desert. I don't know how many times we're going to be able to scour the desert to make tokens, and we don't even have that many creatures that would be good to scour in the first place. I think because this card only goes in this deck, I'm going to take Piercing Rays because I do want early removal. And Exile removal seems like fun. Tragic Fall might be better, but Piercing Rays deals with the modular tokens, which are very strong. So I'm going to take Piercing Rays. They're both 2 mana. Okay, Gilt Blade Prowler, Soul of Migration. Okay, I'm going to take Soul of Migration because this card is fantastic to reanimate. We can evoke it to get it into the grave, we can get it back, we get a whole bunch of tokens. So Soul of Migration it is. And it has high toughness, so if we scour, we're paying 5 mana for 4 flying tokens, which is not the worst. Another Late to Dinner. I'm passing up a Kitchen Imp, Sinister Starfish. I would not mind getting a Sinister Starfish, but I don't think this card is super highly picked. So I'll take another reanimation spell. Let's see, another Flay Essence, a Feast of Sanity. I like Flay Essence. Bone Shredder is also pretty good. It allows us to turn our reanimation spells into kill spells. I think I'm going to take Flay Essence because I'm expecting a lot of the modular deck running around. Bone Shredder is really good, though. Nah, I'm going to take Flay Essence. Another Flay Essence! I could have taken the green creature that reinforces, but we don't have a lot of stuff to stick the 1/1 counters on, and I have no fixing for green. A third Flay Essence. Nykthos Paragon. Whenever you gain life, put that many 1/1 counters on each creature you control. Do this only once each turn. I guess for Reanimator targets, if I can get this for 4 mana, it might actually be worth it. Otherwise, this card is actual garbage. I mean, we have a lot of token generation with Scour the Desert, so maybe it's not quite so bad. I am disappointed they stuck this card in the set. I think white deserved a better rare. Seal of Cleansing is fantastic sideboard material. If we get enough discard cards, I would not be opposed to taking a completely off-color creature, especially if it has high toughness. I'll take a Dark Moss Bridge. There's some chance I splash for green. It'll be a light splash if I do. Green does have the largest creatures, which would be among the best to reanimate. I'm feeling good about the fact we have a lot of exile removal. Turok's Canticle? Discerning Taste or another Scour the Desert. I think I'm going to go with Scour the Desert here. Let's see, Step Through, Floodhound, Faithless Salvaging. I guess I'll take Faithless Salvaging. Yeah, I do have a red land, so if I need to splash red, I can. Sinister Starfish blocks early, helps get our stuff we want in the grave into the grave and early. So I'll take the Starfish. Another Starfish, or a Gilt Blade Prowler. I think I'll take the Starfish here. Yeah. I'll take a Crack Open for the sideboard, and another Crack Open for the sideboard. Alright, final pack. What do we got? Glorious Enforcer is like the uncommon Reanimator target. So, let's see, 7 mana, 5/5. At the beginning of each combat, if you have more life than an opponent, it gains double strike until end of turn. Yep, that would be a great card to reanimate, so I will take it. Because we're kind of just like, we have enough cards that will tutor stuff into the grave with Vile Entombers. We really just need stuff to reanimate. I'll take another Soul of Migration. I don't really want Nested Shambler. Yeah, we take Soul of Migration here. We already have 2 Scour the Deserts. I don't think we want 3, basically under any circumstances. The good thing about getting your overpowered cards for an undercosted amount is it lets you leave up stuff like Blacksmith Skill to protect it. So Bone Shards I really like because one of the modes involves discarding a card, like Lightning Axe style. I'm passing up a Breathless Night to do it, but I think the early discard outlet is more worth it. Plus, we already have a bunch of removal, so having extra removal here is a good support. Like, in the worst case scenario, we can basically play Mono Black or Orzhov Control and just, like, wait it out. Because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 removal spells and 2 4-drops with Death Touch. I really like Batterbone. This card is super good. It triggers life gain for, like, Nykthos Paragon, and it can upgrade any creature we actually stick into play. Most importantly, I think it can allow Vile Entomber to attack and then stay back on defense. So I'm going to take Batterbone here, even though it doesn't contribute directly to the reanimation plan. It also just buys time quite well. Heck, I mean, even if we equip the Starfish with it, it's not bad. Another Glorious Enforcer, a Prismatic Ending. I'm going to take the Glorious Enforcer. We have enough removal that I don't feel like I need Prismatic Ending. I can potentially cut some of our like less good reanimation targets or creatures in general as well if I have a lot of great top end like that. Another Sinister Starfish. Otherwise I take off-color lands. Yeah, I'll take the Starfish. Why not? It'll buy us time. I may not be playing all three, but I don't think I'm playing any of those lands because it's a little late to be splashing green for anything. Yeah, I'll take Breathless Night here. I could take Break Ties as sideboard, but I'm going to take the Knight. Healer's Flock. Goldmire Bridge. Okay, I think I actually take the Fixing Land here. I don't really want to play Healer's Flock. Yeah, we'll take the on-color land. It just makes our mana a little bit better, because we have a lot of double white and double black. We need a lot of black early, and a lot more white later on. Although, we don't need to cast almost any of our top end with double white, so... take the random black card. Take the Scour the Desert. Take the Breathless Night. Guess I'll take the Squirrel Sanctuary. I'll take the Step Through, I guess. I'll take a Tide Shaper, because I don't have any yet. And last but not least, a Tavern Scoundrel. Alright, let's build us a deck. Alright. So, group creatures separately. Let's take a look at what we're doing. I don't think we need more than 4 reanimation spells, and I'm counting Scour the Desert as a reanimation spell. Constable of the Realm, I think, is our worst, like, top-end creature. Actually, Guardian Kirin is, but Constable of the Realm is very close behind. I don't think we need Blacksmith skill, even though I was talking about protecting our... maybe we do. Hang on. Let me think about that. I'm not going to play Fodder Tosser. It is a discard outlet, but I don't think it's likely that we actually use it. We're more likely to discard to Necromancer's Familiar, surveil over our creatures individually, or just straight up entomb with Vile Entomber. Soul of Migration, the evoke cost is 4, so I'm going to count that as a 4-drop, because that's basically what we would play it for. Okay, I need to cut some non-creature spells. World Weary, it actually fixes, because it's got basic land cycling. I think I'm going to cut World Weary, as it's our worst removal spell. It's not terrible, it's just not great. I'll cut 1 Sinister Starfish. I can bring it back in if I'm playing against fast aggro or something. We have quite a bit of life gain. And so if I look at all my removal spells, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5... I need to cut 1 more card to run 16 land, I think. Batterbone is technically a creature. Maybe it is Blacksmith skill I cut here. So I think we've got a deck. We are a little light on lands. We should probably be running 17, but really we're going to curve out at 4. Like 4 and 5. Casting 6 and 7 might happen occasionally, and we have a lot of delay to hopefully get there, but... so yeah, I'll see you guys in round 1. Long queue times today. Alrighty. Round 1, and we will be on the play. I think we mulligan a 1-lander. This is a little bit slow, but it is doable. We don't have much discard, so I think I put Glorious Enforcer back in the deck. Kind of want to keep the lands. Lead on Swamp, pass the turn. Opponent plays a Swamp. We draw Goldmire Bridge, might as well play it now. Opponent did mulligan to 6. They play a Plains, they have a Legion Vanguard. We draw Necromancer's Familiar. Play a Plains. Cast Discerning Taste. I will take Vile Entomber. Put Soul of Migration in the grave. Pass the turn. That lets us shuffle and put that Glorious Enforcer into the grave. Opponent plays Breathless Night. They're going to hit us for 2. We untap and get Scour the Desert. Whenever Breathless Night or another creature enters the battlefield under your control, if that creature entered from a graveyard or you cast it from a graveyard, put a 1/1 counter on it. Alright, we're going to play the Vile Entomber this turn. So put a Glorious Enforcer into the grave. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a Guardian Kieran. And attacks will trade here. Their creature becomes a 3/4. Play a Plains. And let's scour the Soul of Migration to make 4 1/1s. If they attack with the Guardian Kieran this turn, we can Piercing Raise. If they don't, we can actually forecast and then cast it. The forecast calls for pain. Nice. So opponent attacks us for 4, no blocks, take 4. We untap, upkeep, forecast, draw a swamp, play a swamp, Piercing Raise to get rid of it, pass the turn. Next turn we can hardcast Soul of Migration. Opponent plays Chattering Augur, they draw a card, they play a land. They're going to attack for 3 with lifelink. This is fine-ish. Take 3. Go to 11, we untap and draw a swamp. Play a swamp. Play Soul of Migration. Get some more birds. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a land. They World Weary to kill the soul. They attack for 2. We're going to take 2. Untap. We draw Breathless Knight. Play Breathless Knight. And play Necromancer's Familiar. Pass the turn. I would love to draw a reanimation spell. Opponent attacks for 2. I'm going to take 2 one more time. If we kill it, they just pick it up and replay it. Another Breathless Knight. We untap, draw late to dinner. So reanimate Glorious Enforcer, make a food, counter on Breathless Knight, go to combat, attack for 6 with lifelink. I feel like we're turning this around. Okay, we're up to 13. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. They play a land. They play Archfiend of Sorrows? Oh man, that is brutal. Alright, gain life. They kill all my birds, including the bird's spirit. There's no way they don't attack here. Actually, if they attack with Chattering Augur, that would... or Clattering Augur, that would be wrong, I think. But they're going for it. Man, just when I was like, yeah, we're going to turn this around. Nope. Take 6, opponent gains 6. We untap and we draw a swamp. That is abysmal. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps, they draw. They're attacking with Archfiend of Sorrow and Chattering Augur. Clattering Augur? Clattering Augur. So gain 5, take 5. They pick it back up. They play a land. Then they replay it, losing a life and drawing a card. We untap. I only play 16 lands! What's the deal? Pass the turn. Opponent untaps and draws. They go to combat. They attack with just the Archfiend. No blocks, we're going to 5. Where's all my exile removal? Where's my other reanimation spell? Go to 5. Opponent has their own Glorious Enforcer. We draw nothing. We completely bricked after our opponent had a board wipe. That's rough. I mean, I might want World Weary because it seems like single target removal is kind of important. Nah, I'm not gonna run it. Run it back. So don't put all your birds on one battlefield. It's the wisdom for the day. This is a mulligan. This can be a keep. I think I put back Nykthos Paragon. Maybe it's better to reanimate Nykthos Paragon. I didn't even think about it. I was like, oh, let's get the Glorious Enforcer. Nykthos Paragon seems like a lot stronger. If we have a way to gain life, that is. So we'll keep this, put back the Paragon, lead on the Swamp, pass the turn. So when it untaps, plays a Swamp. We draw a Sinister Starfish, pass the turn. When it plays a Plains into a Fairgrounds Patrol, we untap, we draw Plains. Play a Plains, pass the turn. Opponent untaps. They play a Plains. They play Marble Gargoyle. Alright, stop on their end step. Let's surveil. I will put a Plains into the grave. Untap. We draw Plains. Play a Plains. Play Necromancer's Familiar. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. They play a Swamp. They go to combat. Attack with both. Block here. Go to 18. And they play Breathless Knight. Surveil. I will leave Breathless Knight on top. We untap. Draw Breathless Knight. Play a Plains. Play the Knight. I could Piercing Raise the Gargoyle, but I don't think that's a good idea. I think the Knight is actually more dangerous unless my opponent plays the Anthem Angel, at which point we have to take that out. So I think that was my mistake game one, targeting something else other than that. Opponent plays Plains. They go to combat. They attack for 4 in the air, no blocks. Opponent is casting something, thinking about how to tap. Another Marble Gargoyle, and a Legion Vanguard. So Surveil on my opponent's end step. Swamp I actually have to put on top, because I need a second swamp. We untap. We draw the swamp. Play it. And we're going to play Vile Entomber. Put Nykthos Paragon in the grave. And pass the turn. So opponent draws. And they go to combat. They're attacking with all the flyers and the Fairgrounds Patrol. Block here. Takes 6. We go to 8. Opponent gains 2. They sack their patrol to explore, drawing a plains. They play the plains. They make a Thopter. And our opponent is going to give that creature 1/1 and flying. Let's go Surveil. Vile Entomber into the grave. Untap. Let's get some information before using Piercing Rays this turn. Scour the desert. I can get 6 birds, but they get completely wiped out by our opponent's board. They're like irrelevant. I think I put that in the grave. We drew a plains. So I should have forecasted to tap this, but because I didn't, I think I exile the Breathless Knight. Okay, they sack it. They get a plains. And now we pass. They have to at least think slightly more before attacking now. This is the first time we've left up black mana. Opponent attacks with everything. Block here. Block here. Ditch our plains. Give it indestructible and lifelink. Opponent reveals Monoskellion. Well, at least they can't ping down our 3/1. Not immediately. Have to wait a turn. They kill our Breathless Knight with World Weary. Surveil. Come on, Reanimate. Reanimate spell. I mean, Batterbone's like kind of okay. Play Batterbone. So because my opponent has Monoskellion, we have to attack with this creature this turn. The Necromancer's Familiar, that is. So go to combat. Attack for 3. So we have 2 actual Reanimate spells in our deck, and we've gone through half of our deck and not seen one. That is pretty unfortunate. Yeah, so opponent immediately pings the Familiar with the Monoskellion. They're going to hit us for 8. We're going to go to 2. Alright, it's going to basically come down to this. Surveil. I don't have a lot of hope. Swamp into the grave. And we draw plains. I could suit up the Entomber and hit them for 3, but that doesn't do anything. They can actually block and sack, so they don't even let us gain life. That's super unfortunate. We also have drawn none of our removal. Actual none of it. Other than the 1 exile a tapped creature. We have like 5 better removal spells than that? This is some bad luck. I'll see you guys in round 2. Alright, round 2 and we're on the play. I'm gonna keep. We've got double black, double white. We've got multiple removal spells that should be good. So start tap land, pass the turn. Also, that Starfish was doing work. His opponent leads on Mountain into Blazing Rootwalla. Play a swamp. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a swamp. Then plays a Vermin Gorger. Hits us for 1. We draw Scour the Desert. So I think let's Discerning Taste here. Oh, come on. I guess I take the Starfish and dump the Piercing Rays. Pass the turn. Alright, opponent plays Captain Ripley Vance and attacks us for 3. We untap, we draw late to dinner, play a plains, and I think we Flay Essence Ms. Vance. Pass the turn. Opponent plays Fodder Tosser. We untap, we draw Scour the Desert. Well, play a Starfish, sinisterly. Opponent is going to pitch card to shoot us. They want us dead. ASAP. They ditch Echoing Return. They're going to attack us for 3, no blocks. We go to 10. We untap, draw planes. So play a planes. We have nothing to scour or reanimate. Go ahead and play the Breathless Knight. Pass the turn. Opponent ditches a Necrogoyf and pays its madness cost. Well, there's our discard outlet. We take 2. We need to gain life and in a hurry. Opponent sacks the Blazing Rootwalla. They untap. They have to discard. They're floating mana. Calibrated Blast? What did they reveal? A Fodder Tosser? We're dead? We're dead. They just shoot us for 3 and then sack their Goyf and fling at us with Fodder Tosser. Oh, that's so lame. Yup. And here I thought I had a really sweet deck. I guess not. Okay, so opponent's deck is faster, so we'll bring in the Sinister Starfish. And we'll cut a Scour the Desert, I think. If that card gets stuck in your hand, it's really bad. Alright, we'll play first. Okay, I mean, it's not the greatest, but it will work. We can discard one of our creatures. We can discard our Soul of Migration if we don't get enough mana to evoke it, or need to kill something early. Alright, lead on planes, pass the turn. Opponent did mulligan to 6. They play a Swamp. We draw Scour the Desert. We're going to need to start drawing lands and in a hurry. Land a Batterbone. Opponent plays a Swamp. Plays a Vermin Gorger. We draw planes. So play a planes, play Breathless Knight. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. They play a Swamp, and they're thinking about attacking. Alright, we untap. We draw Discerning Taste. So go to combat. Attack for 2 in the air. Opponent takes 2, we gain 2. Cast Discerning Taste. I think we gotta take the land. Play the land. I could Bone Shards here. I think it's better if I wait until I cast or evoke Soul of Migration. Opponent plays a Swamp, passes, we untap, draw a Swamp. Play a Swamp, go to combat, attack for 2 in the air. Soul of Migration, make some birds. Sack the soul, pass the turn. Opponent untaps. They play a mountain. They finally found red mana. I'll be pretty upset if they have that demon, because I think it's only 5 mana. So, Calibrated Blast, revealing Scophos Reaver. It's weird that this is a triggered ability, rather than part of the resolution of the spell. I'm not sure why that would be. They kill Breathless Knight. And they attack for 2, no blocks. We untap, draw planes, play a planes, go to combat, attack for 3, hit them to 13, then Scour the Desert, exiling Soul of Migration, pass the turn. We now have many flyers. Opponent plays a Lightning Spear. They equip Lightning Spear, and they attack us for 3. No blocks. We go to 22. We untap. We draw the Sinister Starfish. So play the Starfish. I'm going to hold on to the Necromancer's Familiar in case they do have a board wipe of some kind. Go to combat. Attack for 7. Take them to 6. Pass the turn. And opponent scoops. So moving on to game 3. And I think we just run it back. Alright, well we have multiple castable cards, so we're going to keep. We won't have to worry about tap lands this entire game, hopefully. Opponent leads on Swamp. We draw Bone Shards, play Goldmire Bridge, pass the turn. Opponent plays a Mountain. We draw Swamp. Sinister Starfish noises increase in intensity. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a Mountain, plays Captain Ripley Vance. We draw Piercing Rays. Play a Plains. Play Breathless Knight. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. Opponent plays Fodder Tosser. And they're going to immediately discard a card. Kitchen Imp. Okay. So they play a 1-mana 2/2 Flying Haste. They go to combat. They attack. Trade here. We take no damage effectively. Okay. Surveil. Glorious Enforcer into the grave. Untap. We draw Soul of Migration. Play a swamp. Evoke Soul of Migration. So evoke, get tokens, pass the turn. Opponent untaps, plays a swamp. Okay, opponent plays Calibrated Blast. Oh, you know why it doesn't do it as part of the resolution of the spell? It's so that you can see how much damage you're doing before you target. That's why it's the way it is. So they're going to kill a bird, because they're rude. Then they go to combat and attack us for 2. Take 2. We'll surveil on their end step. Plains. Plains to the top, actually. Untap. Draw the plains. Play the plains. Let's go ahead and Discerning Taste. Looking for that reanimation spell, if we can ever find it. I will take the Breathless Knight. And let's Piercing Rays, so we don't have to deal with that. Go to combat. Attack for 1. When it goes to 19, they untap, they draw, they pitch Hellmongrel, which will deal 2 damage to us. Okay. Then opponent plays a land and passes. On their end step, we'll go Surveilling. I don't really want to draw another Breathless Knight right now. I'm going to go ahead and Surveil on my own upkeep here. Don't really want the 6th land right now. We get Batterbone. So play Vile Entomber. We already have a Glorious Enforcer in the grave, so I think what we do is put the Nykthos creature in the grave. Yeah, we'll put Nykthos Paragon in the grave. Pass the turn. Okay, so opponent plays Necrogoyf. Okay. Opponent discards. Nothing. And then this might be them flashing back Calibrated Blast. Mind Collapse. Okay, so they get to deal 5 damage to whatever they want. They're going to kill the Death Touch. Okay. While unfortunate for us, there's not a lot I can do about that. When it goes to combat, attacks for 12. Chump 8 of it. We go to 13. Untap. We have to discard. So we're going to discard Batterbone. Draw Vile Entomber. Play Vile Entomber. Opponent's going to shoot us for 2. Put Glorious Enforcer into the grave. Then we will cast Bone Shards, discarding Breathless Knight to kill the big creature and pass the turn. And now we just have to surveil our way to a win condition. Echoing Return. Opponent picks up Necrogoyf. Then they can discard it to Fodder Tosser to deal 2 damage to us and cast it for Madness. Because it has Madness for some godforsaken reason. Okay. They get a 10-4. We go to 9. Opponent goes to combat. They attack. Let's surveil to get more information. Flay Essence to the top. So we will absolutely trade here. Untap. We discard nothing because we have nothing to discard. Man, where are our reanimation spells? We have drawn, across the last 2 games, something like 42 cards. And we've not seen a 2 of in our deck. And by drawn, I mean like we've surveilled away cards and stuff too. Not literally drawn, but we've seen something like 42 cards and have not seen a 2 of in our deck. And multiple times not seen this 3 of, which would have been amazing. So, exile their Necrogoyf. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps and draws a card. It is a Gilt Blade Prowler. So, Surveil. Flay Essence to the top. Untap. We draw. Exile the creature. The reason we're doing that is because if my opponent draws a Madness card, they can play it off a Fodder Tosser, and then they can pay 1 life and draw an additional card. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. They draw. And they are passing. Surveil. Swamp to the grave. Untap. We draw planes. Play a planes. Pass the turn. I just need a reanimation spell so I can win the game. It should not take this long. So opponent can ditch whatever they draw immediately to replay Tyzerus Charger and give it flying, so we only actually have 1 turn to do something. Also, one of my gluteus muscle bands is twitching. Yeah, they're ditching Flame Rift. If they get it back with a flying counter, we have to Surveil on their end step and on our upkeep. Yep. Okay. Surveil immediately. Swamp to the grave. Untap. Surveil. Swamp to the grave. Mother? Oh my god. Dude! I'm actually upset about this. Should not happen. 50 cards in 2 games and I can't find a 2 of in my deck. I would have even settled for the stupid Scour the desert. Because at least that would give me 6 flyers. I'm dying to the stupid Fodder Tosser, which is a card that I considered completely unplayable, which is one reason that I'm really frustrated. But I guess if you need a madness outlet and your opponent doesn't do anything for 30 turns, whatever. Yep. Oh, I'm so upset about this. I'm actually mad. My deck shouldn't be this bad at all. I really think that this is just me getting very unlucky. Which, maybe in the frickin' cosmic scales, it's just my time to get unlucky, I guess. Well, see you guys in round 3. I'll be honest, I don't want to play it. Alright, round 3. Should I keep the reanimation spell hand? With no action? I'm just gonna die if I do. I'm gonna mulligan until I actually have something I can play. Okay, this seems reasonable, right? I'll put back a Nykthos Paragon. I just have to draw a swamp and another land. That's it. And then I can do everything I set up to do. It's all I want. Oh my god, don't do this to me, deck. Alright, thankfully my opponent is doing nothing. I really hope I draw lands. Okay. Opponent basic land cycles Orchard Strider. Getting a plains. They untap. They play Yavimaya Elder. We untap. It was the next best thing to a land. Something that can help us find lands. Opponent untaps. They play a tap land. Okay. We untap. Surveil on our upkeep. Goldmire Bridge. I'm fine with that. That's our double black right there. Pass the turn. Opponent sacks Yavimaya Elder. Gets a bunch of lands, then draws a card. Okay, opponent plays another plains. 5 mana. They play Karmic Guide. It's pretty good. Okay, we need a land, which means I will be surveilling on my upkeep. Okay. Land on top. Play the plains, play Vile Entomber. And we are going to put our other Glorious Enforcer in the grave. Pass the turn. This opponent has the option of paying the Echo cost for Karmic Guide. Now, something tells me you need a lot more reanimation spells than what I have to actually play this deck. So opponent plays an island. Then they play a Junk Winder, Affinity for Tokens. Whenever a token enters the battlefield under your control, tap target non-land permanent and opponent controls. It does not untap. Wow. That's actually pretty decent. Draw Breathless Knight. We can't really delay. Reanimate Glorious Enforcer, pass the turn. Opponent untaps, they draw. Okay, opponent plays the Swamp. Terminal Agony, which is what I'm feeling right now. They play Ornithopter of Paradise. When it goes to combat, passes. Sinister Starfish. At this point, do I start keeping lands? I guess I probably should. We untap. Draw plains. Play the plains. Play Vile Entomber. I'm gonna get rid of a land out of my deck. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. They draw. Wow. That card's really good in this particular situation. We're taking 11 this turn. Unless I give up my consistent source of card advantage. By card advantage, I mean card filtering. I guess I have to, because, like... Or maybe I don't even get the choice. Aethersworn Sphinx, Cascade... Crack open. Yeah. Wow. Opponent just kills my one relevant creature and taps everything else. Swamp on top. This way I can cast the Glorious Enforcer. If I draw one more land, I can play the Breathless Knight as a way to, like, delay. We're taking 11 and going to 9. Play a Swamp. Play Breathless Knight. Maybe I should have evoked Soul of Migration, so I had 2 blockers instead of just 1. Because now if my opponent makes a single token, we die. Opponent draws 3 cards. That's pretty good. Well, token affinity. Okay. Yeah, alright. Maybe Black-White Reanimator is the trap. Maybe I built it wrong. If you have any ideas for what I did wrong, I'm open to listening. Do I play Seal of Cleansing? My opponent has a couple of decent artifacts. Honestly, I'm just going to run it back. I don't think I actually want to sideboard here. I think the one thing that I missed drafting the deck the way I did is that I did not get enough like card filtering, card advantage. Like I should have had probably 2 or 3 discerning tastes, and I had the option to pick them up. I just drafted removal I never drew. All right, sure. Put back Soul of Migration and Glorious Enforcer. Play Swamp, pass the turn. But it plays a Forest, suspends Rift Sower. We draw another Swamp. Play Swamp, play Sinister Starfish. Pass the turn. When it untaps, this starts ticking down. So I think this is a reference to Search for Tomorrow. Okay, opponent plays Ornithopter of Paradise. We untap, go ahead and Surveil. Glorious Enforcer into the grave. Draw Discerning Taste. Play a Swamp. Discerning Taste. Well, geez, I wonder what card I take. I don't know. This one? Pass the turn. Like, I think we're just destined to get got. Like, there's like... I don't know what the odds of each of these things individually happening are, but all of them together is astronomical. Opponent plays Yavimaya Elder and Hard Evidence. I mean, the green-blue token deck was tons of fun. This one, not so much. So we untap, we draw Flay Essence. I can Flay Essence Yavimaya Elder to stop them from getting any value out of it. So I think I will. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps and draws. Plays a tap land, cracks a clue. Green, they play Ravenous Squirrel. They go to combat and pass. Surveil, planes into the grave. Untap, Surveil, Swamp into the grave. We draw Late to Dinner. There it is. Play the Swamp. Late to Dinner. Give me that glorious, glorious Enforcer. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. They play a tap land, and they pass. We untap, we draw, Scour the Desert. So crack the clue, draw a card, or crack the food, gain life, go to combat. Glorious Enforcer gains double strike. Attack for 10. Okay, they chump. We only gain 5. Unless... Okay, they draw 3 cards. We kill their guy, we gain 5 life, pass the turn. This is all I've been trying to do this entire league. Just that. And it's not good. It's not good because, like, you fold really hard to single target removal. Just, like, random hard removal completely hoses this this strategy entirely. So, like, I imagine if you had it Terminal Agony, as an example, or, I mean, if you had a, what's it called? If you had the non-legendary Entomb, and you had the, I'm actually going to leave that on top, and you had the Reanimate for 2 mana, and then you had some kind of gigantic threat that also had... I can't cast this because I don't have double white. So play Batterbone, pass the turn. And then you had some kind of legendary that had evasion, or like some kind of way to protect itself or something. Not legendary, but you know what I mean, big creature. Then maybe this archetype would work. Maybe I just drafted it wrong. Like, that's entirely possible. I am by no means an expert. Alright. Second reanimation spell's the Charm. We untap, draw Late to Dinner, reanimate Glorious Enforcer for the second time, pass the turn. Opponent untaps. Opponent cracks open to kill the equipment. I forgot to Surveil. We draw Flay Essence. So Flay Essence, kill the Sphinx. They should sack to Ravenous Squirrel. Yep, that's fine. Go to combat. Glorious Enforcer gains double strike. Attack for 10. Okay, we hit our opponent to 11. We go up to 37. Pass the turn. Opponent casts another Memories Journey. They play a Swamp. They go to combat. Glorious Enforcer gains double strike, but it doesn't matter. They attack for 3. No blocks. Go to 34. Surveil. Flay Essence on top. We untap. Draw Flay Essence. Go to combat. Gain double strike. Attack for 5. Opponent goes to 1. Play Vile Entomber. We're going to just entomb a swamp so we don't draw a swamp. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. 6/7 mana. Archfiend of Sorrows. Surveil. I'll leave that one on top. So they kill our Vile Entomber. They play a land. They attack us for 3. We go down to 41. We untap. Draw Glorious Enforcer. Flay Essence. Kill their flyer. And finally succeed in what we set out to do. Good lord. I'm thankful I got to do it once. Just disappointed that it's not good. Run it back. Okay, I don't think I can keep this hand having only one color of mana. This is better. I will keep. I'm going to put back Nykthos Paragon. We don't have the best thing to reanimate, but it is something, and we have a reanimate spell. Okay, we drew our second swamp, which means we'll be able to Flay Essence on the way there. Opponent strikes it rich. We untap. Draw Bone Shards. Play a swamp, pass the turn. Well, if we draw another large creature, we can Bone Shards to discard it. Opponent plays Yavimaya Elder, which I am going to Flay Essence so that they can't do anything with it, and they don't get any value out of it dying. Pass the turn. So opponent suspends Rift Sower because they can't cast it. We draw Soul of Migration, play a Plains, evoke, make birds. Opponent untaps, Rift Sower ticking down. They play a Plains. They play another Yavimaya Elder. We untap. We draw Flay Essence. Well, keep limiting their mana. Go to combat. Attack for 2. When in doubt, bird them out. Hit them down to 18. They untap. Rift Sower coming off suspend. Opponent finally achieving 4 mana. Okay. Opponent plays a Squirrel and Hard Evidence, and then sacks the clue to draw. We untap. Draw a Swamp. Play a Swamp. Well, with us so close to casting our big spells, I think I'm just going to reanimate the Soul of Migration this turn. I can always sack a token if I want to Bone Shards. Go to combat. Attack for 2. Opponent takes 2, goes to 16. They untap. They sack their token to draw a card, right? Yeah, they draw a card and gain a life. They play a land and pass. We untap. Draw Piercing Rays. Okay, go to combat. Attack them with everything. Hit them to 11. Piercing Rays, take out their mana. Bone Shards will sack a creature. And opponent scoops! Oh, we finally get our match win. Oh, after being denied for so long. Yeah, if I had to guess, the Black-White Reanimator, unless it's at its craziest, is probably not the greatest archetype to be in. If you want to win, draft Affinity, draft Madness, draft one of the faster archetypes, provided, of course, that it's open. And as always, if you like this content, you want to see more of it, please leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel if you're so inclined, and remember you can follow me on Twitch. Same username over there as you find me on here. I stream Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The last few times have been earlier than that. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys next time. Bye! Hey, just wanted to give a shout out to my patrons for the month of June. If you want to have your name show up in this list, there's a link to my Patreon down in the description below. Thank you all.